We are in the BI Platform studio and I'm speaking with Antoine Stelma, lead data architect with Connected Data Group. Antoine, at our conference, the Data Warehousing and BI Summit, you had a session entitled Roadmap to a Private and Sovereign Data and AI Cloud.
Yeah.
Well, first things first, what would be your definition of a sovereign cloud?
Yeah, well, there are multiple definitions, and just to give a little bit of intro to that definition, we started 2 years ago with being cloud agnostic. So we wanted to create a data and AI platform which was cloud agnostic, because we saw that a lot of data is going into public cloud solutions, and then the ownership of the data was kind of difficult. Are you complete in control of your logic? And what about the applications that you are building? So from a sovereign perspective, because that's actually the next step, what we did is we were cloud agnostic, we delivered that to customers and platforms. Then we got to the sovereign part, and where we said, okay, so what's now the definition of that? So on that part we said, okay, so an organization must have its strategic capability, okay, to be and to have the absolute authority and self-determination about the data, about the logic, about the application. So we can see 3 steps in that. We have like full ownership of data. That's not only if it's installed in the Netherlands. No, it's, are you completely in control? Is it your data? And if you want to leave, can you take it with you? And if you want to access it, can you just have access at any time? You do not share ownership of data. The same applies for logic, and logic is quite difficult because things like business rules are mostly in public clouds mixed in tools, and then if you want to extract them, you have to rebuild your solution elsewhere. So that was also where we thought, okay, what if we can build it in containers, in container technology, we put it in and you can run it anywhere, but take your logic, take your data and take your application with you. So from a true sovereignty data and AI perspective, we can see that it is, you have to have the authority, you have to be full ownership of data, logic, and your application. So that's our definition, and that's what we have been running since. And that's what my presentation was about.
Okay. But in what way does the architecture of a sovereign AI environment differ most from a standard cloud data platform?
Okay, so if we compare the two, the public and the more private cloud applications, then we can see that we are using a combination of open source tooling. We can use almost any tool because we can spin it up as a container. So we can create tools of preferences. So for instance, we do a lot on data warehouse automation, and there you can select the best of breed. So we have chosen a certain party that has a proven track record with data warehouse automation. And the same applies, for instance, for the data catalog, which is almost the heartbeat of your platform. And we also got to a version and a application, an open source application, which perfectly suits our need with an open backend. So we can just provide it to you. It's easy to learn. And if you want to run it elsewhere, you can just take it completely with you. All your logic, all your rules on data quality, on data governance are applied to that tool, and you can just take it with you. So that's a whole other story. If you go to the public cloud, let's say you go to Azure, then you have like Purview and you have like Fabric, but you cannot take those tools with you. You can extract the data, you can extract the logic, but you have to rebuild it yourself. Yeah. And that's I think one of the main differences. It's not that we are against public cloud. We see it as more like it's a beautiful cloud dilemma, where we can say, okay, so there's a best of breed. So sovereign, private, sensitive, business value needs to be in sovereign, but if you have like tons of IoT data, you can just store it in the public cloud. It's no problem. You can also take all the containers with you and run it in Kubernetes in the cloud. It's the same principle. You'll always have control over your own containers. Those are the belongings and the property of the organization.
Okay. And a sovereign cloud requires strict control over metadata, lineage, governance. Yeah. Which design choices make the biggest difference?
Yeah, the biggest design is actually not the technical part. That's actually funny because it's like Kubernetes, and then you have all your tools and open source selection. And that's an important part, but the most important part is actually how you govern and manage your data. And that also applies for AI. So, for instance, we say we have like 100% automated data lineage. So it's getting into the platform, and when it leaves the platform, we are 100% in control. No more discussions on, oh, we don't know how it's coming there, or no, it's 100% in control. Also, privacy by design is a really important topic, because we are not allowed anymore to have all the data on the platform all the time. And that's also a part where we have built-in controls, we build in the guardrails, we are supporting our customers saying, hey, just put a timer on that data. If you can just use it for a year, let's put a timer on it. And our mechanism that we've built will automatically signal and say, hey, this needs to be away. The other part is that we're working with, for instance, data virtualization. We also do a lot with data minimization. So that's actually all about the question, do we really need to put all the data to the platform? For us, it's no business model. For us, it's the outcome. That's the common business model that we have with an organization. So that's where we, on that part, build in those controls. We have a large background also as one of the biggest trainers in data management. So all those concepts are baked into the platform. And customers, we teach the customers to learn and to speak the same language with us.
Okay. And on choices, sovereign clouds impose strict restrictions in terms of tooling and vendor choices. But how does one assess which tools do fit within a strictly sovereign design without stifling innovation?
Yeah, because there's a best of breed in the market. There are excellent tools that you can run by yourself. There are excellent catalogs that can be run. They can be open source. For us, there's one big golden rule. Once the application, let's say we do not want to continue the application, the backend and the output of the application should be 100% open. So for instance, we are using for a data catalog open metadata, which is an open source tool, and it has a beautiful Postgres database on the backend, which you can just fully read, meaning that all the work that the organization has done with putting in their assets into the catalog can just be exported as easy in normal language. The same rule, we apply that also for our closed source. Our closed source, then we have to pay a license. So then we say, okay, is it open on the backend? Well, we select them. For instance, we use tools like Denodo, completely open on the backend. We use tools like Dataflow Builder, completely open at the backend. And the most important part there is it brings us so much speed or a constant quality by using data warehouse automation. So that needs actually to be delivered more than the license cost itself. So if it brings us and the added value, then we use those types of tools. But it always has to be open on the backend.
Okay.
And we can run practically any tool, but important rule, it needs to be open on the backend. No closed proprietary items that we cannot see or cannot easily migrate. Yeah,
okay. And suppose an organization wants to launch a sovereign data in iCloud today.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what do you think would be the first step?
I think first step would be starting from a functional base, because we are running data and AI in a sovereign private cloud. So the most important part is, okay, what is the functional need that we actually need to have this platform perform for us? So besides the sovereignty is how can this platform actually serve us really well? And then I think I would starting with the data catalog as first tool, because in my presentation I'm saying, hey, if you can't find it, you don't have it. And that's a quote we use, because first get to know your data, get to understand your data, and then you can choose which solutions is going to support you within the sovereign cloud. And from that part, we can actually create a working solution, and each organization then can work with it and share it, because that's also important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Antoine, for the interview.
Yes, thank you very much.